Okay, you're welcome to what we have today. Welcome to Extra Touch Academy, where you learn, grow, and become. So we are going to be looking at unknown A and R leading to simultaneous equation in GP. In our previous video, we talked about how to use the nth term, which is T of n is equal to A R raised to the power of n minus 1 to solve questions. And we explained what A means, what R means, and what n. A means the first term, R means the second term. Sorry, the common ratio, pardon me. So if you are still confused, try to go back to the previous video. So let's go right to the question. The first question we have here is that the second and the fourth terms of a GP are 10 and 40 respectively. Find the common ratio. So let's go right to the question. So this is what we are using. T of n is equal to A R raised to the power of n minus 1. So let's try to interpret. The second term means T2 is given as 10. The fourth term, which is T4, is given as 40. Then find the common ratio. So this will lead to simultaneous equation. Using this formula, let's focus on this. So we have T2 is equal to A R raised to the power of, we say that our n here is 2. That is 2 minus 1. And we are given the second term as 10. So we'll come to this place and put 10 there, is equal to A R raised to the power of 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is equation 1. We'll go to this one, T of 4. So we have T of 4 is equal to A R raised to the power of, our n here is now 4 minus 1. And the fourth term was given to us as 40. So we have 40 is equal to A R raised to the power of 4 minus 1 is 3, equation 2. Let's bring this one closer to equation 2. So equation 1, we have 10 is equal to A R raised to the power of 1, which we can leave like this. Then what do you do next? We have to divide each of those 10. Then 0 will cancel 0, we are left with 4 is equal to A will cancel A. So this is law of indices. When you are dividing, you are subtracting. The power here is 1. So we have R raised to the power of 3 minus 1. 4 is equals to R raised to the power of 3 minus 1 is 2. Then how do you get the common ratio? When square comes here is square root. So square root of 4 is equals to R. Therefore, our common ratio is 2, because square root of 4 is 2. Then the second, we have gotten the common ratio as 2. The second question they asked us there is to get the first term. You can use any of this equation, either equation 1 or 2 to solve. Let's use equation 1. We have 10 is equal to AR. So we have 10 is equal to A times, we got our common ratio as 2. So this is 2. 10 is equal to A times 2 is 2A. Divide both sides by 2. Therefore, our A is equal to 10 divided by 2 should give you 5. And that is the answer for the first term. Let me try to divide this. Then going to the next one, we are told to find the 8th term. So still using this formula, our T8, this is T8 is equal to, we got the first term as 5. This is 5 times, we got the common ratio as 2. 2 raised to the power of, our n is 8. 8 minus 1 is equal to 5 times 2 raised to the power of 8 minus 1 is 7. So what does this mean? This means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 into 7 places, which when you multiply, let's try it out. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2, 8, 8 times 2, 16, 16 times 2 is 32, 32 times 2 is 64, 64 times 2 is 128. So I have 5 times 128 should give us 640, which is the final answer. So let's go to number 2. We have number 2 here. We have the fourth term. So T4, that is T4 is given to us as 2, and the sixth term, so T6, is given to us as 8. Find the common ratio, still using the same principle here. So we have T4 with this formula is equal to AR raised to the power of, our n is 4. So we have 4 minus 1. And the fourth term was given to us as 2. So we have 2 is equal to AR raised to the power of 4 minus 1 is 3. Let's call this one equation 1. We go to this, we have T6. So we have T6 is equal to AR raised to the power of, our n is 6. So we have 6 minus 1. The system was given to us as 8. 8 is equal to AR raised to the power of 6 minus 1 is 5, equation 2. Let us bring this equation 1 closer to equation 2. So we have 2 is equal to AR raised to the power of 3, equation 1. Just like we did here, we have to divide. 8 divided by 2 is 4, is equal to, A will cancel A. R raised to the power of 5 minus 3. This is law of indices because they have the same base. So we have 4 is equal to, this is R raised to the power of 5 minus 3 is 2. Then square root of 4 is equal to R. Our R is 2. As easy as that. So we have gotten the common ratio. The next question is to get the first term. You can use any of this equation. Let's use equation 1. To get the first term, we have 2 is equal to AR raised to the power of 3. 2 is equal to A times, we got the common ratio as 2. 2 raised to the power of 3. This is 2 is equal to A times 2 raised to the power of 3 means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Then we have 2 is equal to 8A. Then divide both sides by 8, which will give us, when reduced to its lowest term, 2 into itself is 1, 2 into 8 is 4, 1 over 4. And we are done with the second question there. Let's go to the last question we have for today. The last question we have is number 3 question. Let's see how far we can do it. So since we have solved the, let me try to write it well. So we go to number 3 question. So we have the fifth term, that is T5, is 9 times, that is 9 times the third term, that is T3. What is the positive value of the common ratio? Remember, this is what we are using. So T5 is, let me say for example, T5 is equal to AR raised to the power of 5 minus 1 based on this formula here. So which will give us T5 is equal to AR raised to the power of 5 minus 1 is 4. 5 minus 1 is 4. Then let's go to this T3. Our T3 is equal to AR raised to the power of 3 minus 1. So our third term is AR raised to the power of 3 minus 1 is 2. So I want to substitute it in this equation here. Let me call this equation 1. So anywhere I see T5, I'll replace it with this. Anywhere I see T3, I'll replace it with this. Let's go. So T5 is now AR raised to the power of 4. I'm replacing this and this in this equation 1 is equal to 9 times T3 is AR raised to the power of 2. So AR raised to the power of 4 is equal to 9AR raised to the power of 2. Let's divide both sides by AR square over AR square over AR square. A will cancel A. R square will cancel R square. A will cancel A. What do you think will happen here? This is law of indices. R raised to the power of 4 minus 2 is equal to 9. R raised to the power of 4 minus 2 is 2 is equal to 9. So to get the answer, when square comes here is square root. So R is equal to square root of 9, which is equal to 3. And that is how we are able to get this answer 3. So make sure you know how to use this formula. Once the common ratio and the first term are not given, it's going to lead to simultaneous equation, and you have to be very careful. In one of our videos we did under AP, when it leads to, once the first term and the common difference are not given, it will lead to simultaneous equation, but you subtract. But here we are dividing. So in our next class, we are going to treat sum of GP. Thank you.